Have you ever felt that, even when surrounded by people, there's a void that no conversation can fill? As if the world were whispering something meant only for you, something no one else seems to hear? That heaviness in your chest isn't an accident. What if I told you it's actually a calling? Life doesn't isolate us out of cruelty, but because there's a truth that can only be found in silence. Imagine an artist before a blank canvas. It's in the stillness that the most vibrant colors begin to emerge. In the same way, your solitude may be the sacred ground where your essence finally begins to bloom. Why, then, does it hurt so much? Because we're taught to fear it. We run from it as if it were a barren desert, when in fact, it's a disguised oasis. Carl Jung knew this. He called solitude the laboratory of the soul. And you? Are you ready to decipher what it's trying to reveal to you? It's not a lack of love nor failure. It's the opposite, an invitation to dive into the depths of who you truly are. The first step? Stop fighting it. Breathe. And listen. Solitude is not your enemy. It's the silent master holding the map to your destiny. Will you ignore it or follow its voice? The sacred laboratory of the soul. Carl Jung saw solitude differently. Not as a barren desert, but as a sanctuary where the soul rebuilds itself. He compared this isolation to the alchemist's crucible, a fire that doesn't destroy but purifies. When the world disappears, and only you remain with yourself, something extraordinary begins to happen. In this silence, masks fall. Without distractions, without other voices, your inner truth finally has space to breathe. Jung called this process individuation, the moment when we stop being what the world expects and become who we truly are. It's not a comfortable path, but it's the only one that leads to authentic freedom. Think of solitude as a mirror that doesn't reflect your face, but your essence. It doesn't show you what you've lost, but what has always been there, waiting to be recognized. Many run from this encounter, but those who stay discover something surprising. Solitude doesn't empty them. It fills them. Jung spent years immersed in his own abyss, recording dreams, visions, and inner dialogues. From that isolation came the Red Book, a map of the human psyche. His journey proves that the darkest periods can be the most fertile, if you know how to listen to what they have to say. Solitude, therefore, is not exile. It is a sacred retreat where you meet the only company that truly matters, your own. And when that encounter happens, nothing is ever the same again. The solitary road of those who see beyond. Some souls are born with a calling that forces them to walk alone, not by flaw, but by destiny. While most seek refuge in the crowd, these chosen ones find their strength in stillness, because great visions don't arise in noise, but in the silence that precedes awakening. Have you ever wondered why certain people seem to live at a different pace? It's not a lack of connection, but a deeper one, with themselves. The world may call them strange, but they are simply the ones brave enough to listen to the voice others drown out with distractions. This intentional solitude is not empty. It's a sacred space where ideas are born and transformations happen. Great artists, inventors, and mystics have always known. Genius does not come from others' approval, but from the courage to dive into one's own darkness and bring something new to light. It's not an easy path. It requires sacrifice, patience, and faith, especially when everyone questions why you don't follow the herd. But each step on this solitary journey is a move toward the purpose that only you can fulfill. Those who walk alone are not lost. They are following a map that only their eyes can read. And when they finally emerge, they bring with them not just answers, but a new way of being. A gift that only solitude could deliver. The fire that forges giants. History hides a revealing pattern. Humanity's greatest leaps have emerged from periods of extreme isolation. Michelangelo spent years alone in the Sistine Chapel, transforming pain into eternal beauty. His frescoes were not born out of comfort, but from the solitude that fueled his genius. Mother Teresa found not abandonment in the empty streets of Calcutta, but a calling. Her most solitary period revealed the true depth of compassion. From the darkness of a prison cell, Nelson Mandela emerged not with hatred, but with a vision of a reconciled nation. Nature teaches us the same secret. Diamonds are formed under pressure in the depths of the earth. The butterfly struggles alone in its cocoon before it flies. These are not accidents, but necessary processes. When everything seems lost, something invisible is being formed. Van Gogh painted his masterpieces at the height of his solitude. Emily Dickinson wrote immortal verses locked away in her room. They didn't run from the world. They found a greater world within themselves. Their creations were gifts that only solitude could offer. These examples are not coincidences. They are proof that the most solitary moments carry the seeds of the greatest transformations. When you find yourself in that sacred space, you are in good company, the company of those who change the world after first changing themselves. When darkness deceives the eyes, the greatest risk of solitude doesn't lie in the isolation or itself, but in the stories we tell about it. The mind, when left alone with its fears, begins to weave dangerous narratives. You've been forgotten. No one cares. This will never end. These are shadows that distort reality, not absolute truths. This mental trap is as common as it is powerful. How many brilliant souls gave up on their purpose because they interpreted solitude as failure? How many masterpieces never came to light because their creators believed the lies that solitude whispers? The difference between those who get lost and those who find themselves in solitude lies in a single point: perspective. Some see an endless desert, others see an oasis of self-knowledge. The same emptiness that paralyzes some is what sets others free. It all depends on the meaning you choose to give it. The darkest periods have a curious power to amplify our thoughts. They act like echo chambers for our deepest beliefs. If you enter them convinced it's a punishment, you'll come out defeated. But if you face them as a necessary passage, you'll emerge transformed. Solitude doesn't lie. We are the ones who invent lies about it. When you stop listening to the echoes of fear and begin to hear the silence, you'll realize it was never your enemy, just a stern teacher preparing you to see what was always there. The encounter that only silence allows. In the theater of life, solitude is the only moment when the actor removes their mask and sees their true face. No audience, no applause, no character, just the raw, bare essence we usually hide even from ourselves. This inner mirror reveals not who we think we are, but who we truly are when no one is watching. Diving into this reflection takes courage. It shows our scars, but also our forgotten strength. It reveals hidden fears, but also dormant potential. The voice we hear in solitude is not the echo of loneliness. It is our own voice, finally audible after being muffled for so long by the noise of the world. Great transformations begin when we stop running from this encounter. Like a raw diamond that must be cut and polished, our true nature only emerges after we face the pressure of isolation. The finest verses of our story are written in the moments when we are alone with our soul. This mirror doesn't lie, doesn't judge, doesn't distort. It shows what we need to see, not what we want to see. And in that sacred instant of recognition, something magical happens. We realize we were never truly alone, only in deep dialogue with our most authentic self. When you finally recognize yourself in that reflection, solitude stops being a sentence and becomes a sanctuary. Where others see emptiness, you begin to see the richest company possible, the extraordinary person who has always been there, waiting to be discovered. The wisdom hidden in silence. We've reached the heart of the matter. Solitude was never about being alone, but about finding yourself. The universe doesn't isolate by accident. It creates the perfect space for your essence to finally breathe. All the great masters of humanity knew this. Have you noticed how the deepest answers arise in moments of stillness? They were there all along, waiting for the world's noise to quiet down so they could reveal themselves. Your solitary journey is not a detour. It's the most direct path to your sacred center. The days of isolation that once seemed empty were, in fact, full of meaning. Every minute of silence was a seed planted. Every night of introspection watered the soil of your soul. Now you begin to see the first sprouts of what was cultivated in the darkness. There's no going back to what was. Those who find themselves in the mirror of solitude never again lose themselves in the crowd. You now carry an ancestral knowledge, the understanding that your loneliest moments were your greatest allies. The world needs what you discovered in that involuntary retreat. The wisdom born from solitude is exactly what the noise of the world is missing. When you share that light, you'll understand. It was all worth it. The universe knew exactly what it was doing. And now, so do you.